fear is a powerful motivator for these evil beings. Fear is something, I don't know how much loyalty they have to one another. Dooku is training Asajj Ventress. He is only doing that because he wants to murder Darth Sidious and take over himself. This has been explained, forever by George's being the rule of two and how it's inevitable. These guys know that they're going to, it's almost part of the process, betray one another. So there's definitely some fear because he's not ready to take on Sidious by himself. And if Sidious calls his bluff and says, "I know Ventress is not what she appears to be," if Dooku says, "No, I'm not going to kill her," well, then Sidious knows for a fact that Dooku is ready to be taken out. So he has to. I mean, he has to more out of fear. Definitely, you are correct. Than loyalty, and that's something that you see, across many different stories. That fear, you look at Tolkien, the ring wraiths are just fear. Period. They're death and fear. They have no real personality. They're bound to Sauron through fear. They were so greedy and gluttonous as humans, but then their entire being is one of fear, and that's all they can inspire in others. And that's just a trait of evil when you go into storytelling. So it's kind of a sad thing, really, and the wise in the end pity it, even though they're terrible things. You pity what they once were and what they've become, which you could look at Dooku and say the same thing. You can pity, even though he's doing terrible things and amassed great power, he was a great Jedi. He was a kind person, and he falls from that grace into this, in a move for power, he becomes something that's controlled and is just afraid. It's ironic that he played Saruman in the films Lord of the Rings, because in the end, Saruman is a creature that's purely afraid, at least in the books. He's so diminished by the end of it and petty, and that's what happens sometimes when you make that grasp for power.
Let me just follow up on something you said real quick. You talked about, George mentions the inevitability that this idea of betraying the master is just, it's built in. Well, I kept thinking like, okay, it's the rite of passage for a Sith to do this. Does the Sith master always think that he's going to be the one or she's going to be the one to beat this kind of curse or whatever it is? Or are they actually creating a line of succession knowingly?
I think it's kind of both. I think that, Sidious for sure has been the master of this blueprint, staying alive as he has. But in a way, you could say that the principle is really a good one if you're trying to become powerful, because only someone more powerful than you ideally can defeat you, or more clever than you, more devious than you. So you're kind of growing the ultimate Sith, villain. Because if you're so powerful and someone else outsmarts you and kills you, then I guess the Sith must be satisfied to some level that they were outfoxed by a smarter guy. It's an interesting, it's a terrible way to live. Uneasy is the head that wears the crown, right? So I guess that's probably one of those Sith stories. They just.
So I guess if you're a Sith and you have an apprentice who doesn't kill you, you are considered something of a failure as far as being a Sith goes.
Well, no, I think you just outfox your apprentice. That's the thing, how well you've trained them. I made it clear that Dooku was keeping certain things from Savage Opress. There was no doubt. He wasn't going to teach him how to deflect lightning onto your saber and how to focus your mind to make that happen. I wanted to impress upon people that it's not really as simple as just holding it up and the lightning is attracted to the blade. It takes some amount of focus to do that. So it's a smart thing by Dooku, because he's not sure about this guy yet. So he needs certain things to be able to keep him in check, because he's a pretty large, unchained animal at the end of the day. As far as being a failure, Palpatine, he tries to work it, playing Vader against his own son, to frankly upgrade his apprentice along the way. I think that Palpatine knows once Luke is discovered and he agrees to let Vader bring him back in Return of the Jedi, in Empire Strikes Back, that that's on the table, that Vader must be trying to use his own son against the Emperor. So Palpatine's in, at that point, a big chess game with Vader, trying to figure out how he can get to Luke before Vader does and have Luke kill Vader. That's ideally. So there would have been a move, I suppose, where Palpatine would want Ventress to kill Dooku, and then you promise her greater power, and you can keep your own power that way. It's all a chess game of keeping your own power. But evidently, Palpatine didn't think very much of Ventress as far as her abilities go like that.